And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, thank you for making us a part of your day. We're talking about unpleasant coaches and their unpleasant behavior, and
some off the mic.
David was talking about one in particular and said he always had a good experience with him. I knew somebody fairly well that was on that coach's staff. Very different opinion. Very, very different opinion. But anyway, it just made me think about our conversation about who are we talking about, the crazy behavior. Oh, Chris Matthews flipping out about the hammer.
Lawrence O'Donnell.
Oh, it was Lawrence. Yeah, Larry O'Donnell flipping out about the hammer, whether
Stop the hammering.
there was something that led to that crazy behavior or if they were that crazy all along. And I said, it's a little bit of both, but I think it's mainly they're that crazy all along, but they're enabled once they get to a certain level. That is 1,000% true in coaching.
Yeah, there's a very obvious through line in coaches, even from your hardest of hardo to the softest of hearts. There's just a thing there. There's a common thread, an opinion or feeling with all of them. But then, yes, some of them get that spotlight or the money or the power or they're at the podium and they're just like, this is it. It's time to be horrible or whatever. Expand what I am.
Like Bob Knight and Coach K coached together at some point, right? Mm-hmm. Was it at Army? I don't know, Ben. You can swiftly Google the history of it. It was at Army. They were together at some point.
And I guess he was an assistant at Indiana too.
And he always had good things to say about Bob Knight, right? I'm sure Bob Knight at Army was not Bob Knight at the end of Indiana, yet he was. He just couldn't get away with that sort of thing given his position. So I'm sure the Bob Knight that Coach K was familiar with.
Yeah. By the way, Coach K was playing at that point. At West Point.
Was probably way different.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
But, you get to win a national championship and you become a legend at Indiana and you can do whatever you want.
But you know what? I like the opposite. I like the coach that softens. I like the coach that...
That's Coach Witt.
That's Coach Witt. That's Jerry Sloan.
And Coach Witt never, by the way, real quick to clarify, Coach Witt never had any of that crazy behavior that I'm aware of.
No, I haven't heard that either.
Yeah, I had not.
Guys who we know who played for him early in his career.
No Larry O'Donnell, so don't equate that. But he kind of a stern dude. And I don't know, PK will tell you grandkids had a lot to do with it or, I don't know what it is. But yeah, he is definitely a less of a intense person. I'm trying to accurately portray it.
Ironically, Witt is the person who loves the background hammering more than anyone in the world.
Oh, with
right?
the lawnmower.
He loves doing an interview in front of a plane engine.
Whatever.
Start the hammering.
Yes, please. Someone start the hammering. We got to ruin these guys' tape. But yeah, he went a different direction. I'm with you. I like that a little bit, a little bit better.
Anyways, who's in there? Who's bugging you?
The boss.
Let me kick him out. Who? Lloyd?
Oh, Lloyd.
Or the actual boss?
Like that?
Lloyd, we have to play a silly bit now.
Yeah, Lloyd, we're doing whole things now. You're talking Christian's ear off.
I distracted myself.
What's going on?
It's not Lloyd's fault.
Because I can't see him. You could easily just be lying that there's somebody over there in that corner because nobody can see him. You might have just had your feet up on the desk.
Yeah, it was Lloyd. Although
Lloyd's back here.
You wouldn't throw the boss under the bus.
Which boss?
Lloyd. You would throw Hatch under the bus if he were just making it up.
Is Hatch the boss?
No, Lloyd is. That's what I'm saying. If he were just making it up, you wouldn't throw Lloyd under the bus. Not if he's smart.
Yeah. All right.
Did I miss a like that?
You did.
You missed several hammerings, several like that's. Yeah. Yeah.
Stop the hammering.
Hopefully you guys didn't swear.
Ben did twice.
Twice. Bad ones.
We were hitting my motioning, dump that, and you totally missed that. Yeah. So HR
this will be my last day.
Got some FCC compliance
Beth has already
issues.
reached out.
That's nice.
Yeah, at least Beth's nice. She'll fire me softly.
Do you think the BYU coaching staff listens to the show? I mean, obviously they do.
Yeah.
Because they've got nothing better going on from 10 to noon, so might as well pop on the show.
Yep.
But all of a sudden, a different quarterback got the majority of the reps at BYU yesterday. Hillstead gets the majority with the first team. Are they balancing it out, Ben? Because I was really eager to read into it when they said they gave it to the Bear. Are they just doing this so I feel like a crazy person?
I had said, and look, A-Rod said, Bear got the majority of the reps. He said that too. And I kind of said, yeah, that's at least what the media saw. And I know that A-Rod said that was what they did, but it's lying season. He should be lying. Yeah, put the guy who hasn't played all practice out for the media and let him play 25 minutes. Everyone would be like, it's Bear's job. So if you're going to throw that out there, I'm not going to necessarily dismiss what A-Rod's saying, but I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, knowing that you only see a very small portion of practice.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Do you think that A-Rod is, God, what would the mental condition be where you lie for lying's sake? That you just are, like maybe in Arrested Development. Like you just can't help yourself. No reason, you just lie to people.
Yeah.
Pathological liar, is that what that would be, I guess?
No, I would call it strategic. He's a strategic liar.
Okay, but that's what I'm getting at. What would be the point of lying about that? Or what would be the point of manipulating I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm just asking what would be the point of manipulating the media observation and stating an incorrect thing in the postgame about who got the majority of the reps? What would the goal be?
BYU is beginning their dead period right now. Did they take a little practice in the middle, or a little break in the middle of fall camp, and then they'll get back to it a couple days, right? They usually take a little break. I think that's where BYU is now. And generally you come back, you start preparing for your first team. And everyone starts preparing for your first team. So your last two practices, knowing that even if it's just Portland State, who's going to have to start preparing for you on this back end now, they look at the last two practices and they got two different starters. Well, so, yeah, if you're going to say, what was it, Tuesday's practice it was Bear and Wednesday's practice it was McCae, and then you take a mini break now, you come back, Portland State says, well, we got to start prepping. You don't have any lean one way or another.
Well, heaven forbid you don't wrong foot Portland State.
Well, here's the thing. As we were just talking about 5 minutes ago, coaches are insane people. There is a level of insanity that goes to every coach that knows Michigan can lose to App State, we can lose to Portland State, we got to be careful.
I think it's a balance out, and maybe it's saying, hey, don't read into anything. Hey, the radio bozos of the world, stop reading into anything. But that's not lying, I guess is my point. And I don't think they're lying.
No, and I'm guessing they haven't picked anybody yet.
I do not think he's a pathological liar, but that they haven't picked anybody yet is probably what to read into it, I would guess.
And then why would you have one play in front of the media and one not? Or if there was even media availability yesterday, why have McCae one day and Bear the other in front of the media? Like, that stuff's not that accidental. They know how to schedule practice. They have this down to a science.
Now, Lloyd is a pathological liar.
Correct.
He lies just for...
It's rubbing off on Christian. It's like Christian's lying about who he's talking to.
Right. It's like sports.
He's taking Thursday off.
So, I don't know. Saying it wasn't a good sign for Hillstead that Bear was getting the majority actually still is probably true, because Hillstead should have grabbed this job. He had the advantages. He should be in the lead.
I'm much more lukewarm on that opinion than you are. I get why you would say it. Again, I just have not seen superstar McCae Hillstead even when he was on the field. If Bear's a better player, he can be a better player as a true freshman. Absolutely. I get this is McCae's third year. We talked about it. He's got 8 starts in his career. He went 3-5. He lost to James Madison. He lost to San Jose State. He beat San Diego State. I believe it was San Diego State. Forgive me that resume is not good enough by itself to be the starter at BYU.
It is not. But being an incumbent is a thing, and he's the incumbent for all intents and purposes.
There are 150 incumbents in college football who aren't good enough to start at BYU.
Don't let the name fool you, Ben. The Bear started shaving yesterday.
Yeah, I get it.
He was at prom last spring.
I get it.
Or whatever. When did he? I guess he graduated early, right? So maybe he didn't go to prom. He was at the winter formal.
Warp.
Last winter.
Yeah.
No, I made a joke that UConn is still better than, I don't even remember the high school I made up. Chino Hills Prep Academy. It's 1,000% true. College football and high school football are not on the same planet.
Totally agree with you.
Talk to Hans about that. I mean, it's just impossible for nearly anybody to step right in and play as a freshman. And if they do play, you have to plan on it not going well. So if you've got a safer pick, there's a reason that true freshmen don't start.
Yeah, but like Luke Batari should be starting then. It's just like, and he wasn't. And look, Isaac Wilson is not a good example of, start the freshman over Luke Batari.
Luke Batari was a walk-on. We are not talking about walk-ons here.
Okay.
We are talking about
talking about
scholarship.
McCae Hillstead,
We're talking about scholarship players who he is a good enough quarterback for Utah State to not only have given him a scholarship, but really tried to keep him when BYU was recruiting him to come take a scholarship.
As a backup.
But what? No, what was he, a redshirt freshman at that point? It was to come in and grow with the program, I would guess.
You would hope so.
But you're not giving a scholarship to somebody that you don't think has any potential. Isaac Wilson probably didn't get the number 2 quarterback at Utah last year because he was actually better than Luke Batari. But he was the guy with the potential. He was the guy that you had to give a scholarship. Utah State could have had Luke Batari what did I say? Anyway, last year, but they didn't.
Sure.
They passed on him. And so did all of the Mountain West, and so did all of the 2 Pac-12 teams. Everybody did. Hillstead is good enough that he was in demand for scholarships from programs. Mm-hmm. Different situation entirely. And by the way, how did true freshman potential Isaac Wilson do last year?
Extraordinarily poorly.
Yeah. If Bryson Barnes would have still been on the team, they would have picked Bryson Barnes, who probably is a much more apt comparison to McCae Hillstead than Luke Batari.
Okay.
And
I don't know if you're making the point you think you're making.
And by the way, Bryson has won a ton of games because he's a safe player.
He is.
And he can make a couple plays with his legs. He's not slinging it all over the field. But you know what he doesn't do? Lose you games. You know who does lose you games? Freshmen.
Maybe.
So they don't want to pick the freshman. They want him to be awesome. Don't get me wrong. But they don't. I don't know. Like I said, unless you've got an Alex Smith on your hands where all of a sudden he's an All-American right out of the gate, which the likelihood of that is low. The only players that have ever done that are like Johnny Manziel.
But I just don't buy that you played a year not particularly well all of a sudden means you're the guy. And I get why it would give you an advantage. I'm not disagreeing that should give McCae Hillstead an advantage over Bear Bachmeier. It doesn't make him a good player.
It does not.
It does not.
No,
and so I don't care.
It does not.
Particularly. I'm ready to flush that. And that doesn't mean McCae Hillstead won't be a good player this year. I'm just saying based purely on his resume versus a true freshman coming in, I could not care less. I just couldn't. It's not enough there for me, both watching him actually play and just looking at his numbers to think like, well, yeah, that's got to be the guy. Nothing about what he's done would say that to me. 2
years out of high school, or is it 3 for Hillstead? Or he wasn't a mission guy, right? Oh, I always get confused. He was not, right? Just being multiple years out of high school should give him a huge advantage. It should. Because he's been practicing and he's been playing against adults for all of that time. He understands how fast corners are. In theory, he can read where the safety is, means the ball needs to go here, let alone digesting A-Rod's War and Peace-like playbook that we've heard so much about. At least he's had multiple years a head start. My point is he should be the safer pick. And that's what they want. They want a safer pick.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Why?
Because they have a really good team.
I wonder, though, if you say that the safe pick ceiling is not what BYU is trying to be. If the safe pick is 8-4, you're not competing for a Big 12 title, and that's why everyone came back this year to compete for a Big 12 title. So if you have to go bigger swing, I would absolutely understand if BYU thought the potential was higher with Bear, they're going to go for that. And I think that's probably the right move. If you have this team, if you think this is Jay Hill's last year, which very well may be, may not, who knows? We've seen this a lot. We've had a lot of coaches speculate that, next year they're going to leave or next year they're going to leave. We did this with Kalani forever at Utah. It took a long time for him to actually bounce, and he didn't leave for a head coaching job. So if, though, you think that this might be the last year that you have this core together, and knowing that some of these guys are going to the NFL next year, and you may lose a Jay Hill, you should go high upside. And if McCae Hillstead, has capped at that, and we don't know, he played yesterday, he got the majority of the reps. We don't know that. I'm just saying, with the information we have so far to date, I just don't think it's spectacular enough to feel like, yeah, he's got to be the guy.
I honestly, let me say this. I don't know. I'm not advocating for one or the other. I'm just saying that I think that this was Hillstead's job to lose, and I read more into it about Hillstead than I do about the Bear.
Now that I totally agree with that, and that's maybe a feather in the cap for Bear is that if Hillstead hasn't jumped out and earned this, obviously that's not a great sign.
My argument is he should have taken this job. He had every advantage to take this job and should have done that. I don't think it's because the Bears been magic why it's still 50-50. I would guess. I mean, maybe Mitch, has a different perspective or would talk to different people. I would welcome any further info on that.
But you haven't heard that, right?
No.
You've not heard it from all the observations of the people who have been down there. No one has been like, yeah, this is clearly going to be Bear.
Retzloff had all the advantages last year. All of the advantages. And by a week left to go in camp, we knew exactly who was starting. And he even fended off an experienced transfer that came in with actual college football. And he had the advantage because he'd been here and he played some games and he understood what the coaching staff wanted. And he took the job and never gave it back. I'm not saying the quarterback race is in a much worse situation this year than it was last year, obviously. But Hillstead had the advantage over his competitor.
I'm going to pull up McCae Hillstead real quick here. I want to see what offers he had because I do believe this. We get caught up in stars and however silly stars are for players. I want to see what his recruiting profile looked like. And because it may be better than I was thinking, we got to remember, okay, so he had offers to Utah State, FIU, and Washington State. Bear Bachmeier had offers to Stanford, Alabama, Arkansas, Boise State, BYU, Colorado, FAU, Georgia, Kansas, Miami, Michigan, Notre Dame, Oregon, Oregon State, Purdue, Utah, Wazoo. It's like 2 years ago, these players wouldn't have even been close to one another, right?
But
McCae Hillstead was no one is knocking on. Alabama was not knocking on his door. Michigan was not knocking on his door.
But that's 2 years.
It is. It's a difference. And look, there are a lot of guys who get offers to schools that are terrible players.
Alex Smith had one offer. And it was to Utah State to play for his uncle. And his uncle left to take the Michigan State job. And I believe his legend has it. We could ask Mac about this. I probably have. But John L. called back, said, take my nephew. It's pretty good, I promise.
Yeah.
In 2 years, he was winning the conference. So, I don't know. Would Alex Smith in his second year out of high school been better than the best freshman that year in 2003? Probably.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
A lot better.
He was great.
So, I don't know. What do the clowns in the recruiting services actually know? Now, you're talking about scholarship offers.
Which ideally coaches should know a little better, not that much better. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks come and go that never play and aren't any good.
But see, even recruiting stuff is so flawed. Talk to our buddy Gunther, who the day he got an offer from Colorado State is the day he got an offer from the rest of the Mountain West Conference.
Yeah. Right.
The rest of whom probably had never seen him play. But they were like, oh, well, if the Rams think he's good enough to play, we better get on this thing. Even it's just like, is a USC offer a 5-star because they're a 5-star and USC's offering them? Or are they a 5-star because USC's offering them?
Right.
It's just all flawed. But anyway, the point being is that when you get into camp, it should all be equal. And things like experience and practice and familiarity with the system actually matter. And I think it would be a shame if BYU did not win.
Well, hold on. Why would it be equal if that stuff matters? Right? If once you're on campus, it's all equal, shouldn't everything go out the door? Your previous, your history, your stars, etc.
No. You don't get me wrong. You should perform better because of those things.
Okay.
You should be
performing. You're not
performing.
packing that into why you would pick them.
No, as
itself.
As the Bears wondering why he just threw a pick six to the defensive end.
He's quick.
You should be operating the offense.
Yeah.
And again, maybe not like Steve Young, but not throwing interceptions to the defensive end.
I agree with you.
That should be not resume like I'm going to be biased toward this person because he's been here, but because he should be better. If Christian hosted a show with somebody who had never done radio before on day one, and just using experienced Saturday show host Christian Esparza as an example, he should be way better at the job than that guy.
He should.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, of course.
That's all I'm saying. But potential, this isn't really a potential season for BYU.
No, I
don't
totally...
think. This is not really well, let's kick the tires on the frosh. They're not built that way.
I might disagree with you on that. I just don't. If you don't have the right quarterback this year, I think you're just going to hamstring yourself.
But what if you don't have the right quarterback?
Yeah, you just may not.
Point.
Again, we may be back to avocados. You may just be picking between two bad avocados. You may not be able to make guacamole. It just might not be there.
And I'm going to pick the avocado that's not going to throw an interception in the defensive end.
One hell of an avocado. He's throwing a football. I get it. I'm not convinced that McCae Hillstead won't make that same mistake. He did when we saw him.
Well, yeah. I mean, you hope that's what you put behind you with experience. That's the point.
You would hope.
That's the point.
You would hope. But last time we saw him, that was not the case.
All right, stay tuned. Top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Coming up next, Jacob Mann, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the Top 3 Stories of the Day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Mann, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. It's time for the top 3 stories of the day, KSLSports.com. It is sponsored by our friends at J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. Where do you want to start today, Christian?
Number 1, yesterday the Jazz learned their NBA Cup schedule, and then coming out later today, we'll get the full season schedule.
Jazz, difficult pairing. Now, I did have somebody point this out to me on Twitter, which is accurate. Every pairing is difficult when you're the worst team in the NBA, which the Jazz might be. And the other really bad teams, for the most part, are in the East. Washington, Brooklyn. New Orleans might be the other really bad team in the West this year. But the Jazz in-season cup, the NBA Cup, the Emirates Cup, are paired with reigning champion Oklahoma City Thunder, back-to-back conference finalist Minnesota Timberwolves, the Phoenix Suns, who, again, I've told you I'd like their offseason, got rid of the old maid, got off KD, who I think is maybe more of a distraction than he is provider at this point. Got some interesting young pieces, we'll see. But he also plays Sacramento. Sacramento shouldn't be good either. But, not that I expected the Jazz to win a lot or any of these NBA Cup games, but that is their pairing. And they begin early in the season, Halloween. Jazz will play the OKC Thunder.
Ben, cats in the wall might be a theme of the show because we have another topic to get to that I want to bring this up. But I did not think that the in-season tournament was necessarily cat in the wall for the NBA, which, I don't know, do we have to explain cats in the wall? A solution to a problem that does not work and
it just makes the problem worse.
Makes the problem worse.
Yeah.
I did not think it was that. I kind of like the idea of it. I like the idea of it in soccer when RSL does it. I actually think it's kind of cool. And so I was really open to this one. I got to tell you, it's meowing a little more like a cat. Mm-hmm. I had a tough time. I saw your news on this, your article on this yesterday. I went through, I read through it. But man, it felt manufactured, like I was drumming up interest. And it kind of is confusing. And the way it adds games to the other parts of the schedule is confusing. The floors, I get the purpose of the floor, but I don't know if it actually accomplishes that purpose. Do you think the Vegas semifinals and finals has become a spectacle?
No.
So is it just a waste of time? Maybe it doesn't add to a problem, but is it just a waste of time?
What I actually think it's doing that is beneficial, but the NBA can't say it, is it gives teams some extra time off in December, unless you're one of the 2 or 4 finalists, semifinalists that go to Vegas and get to compete in this tournament. Every other team ends up playing like 2 games over 8 days, 9 days. You basically get a mini break early-ish in the season, but kind of breaks it up into like trimesters, right?
Okay.
You go late October to mid-December or early December, you get a little break, and then December to February, and then you get a little break for the All-Star game, and then you make the push for the playoffs. I actually think that's the benefit of it, but the NBA can't advertise it's rest season. So they have packaged it as this NBA in-season tournament. And, do you remember offhand who has won it? I mean, if you read my article yesterday, I did mention it.
Lakers won it.
The first one.
The first one.
And the Bucks won last year.
That's right.
But no, it doesn't matter. What's cool about, CONCACAF and in-season soccer tournaments is ideally you're playing teams that are peers or maybe even a little bit above you or leagues that are similar, but you're not going to play, but different. So you get experience with different players, different countries involved. That actually does have a chance if you're playing in the U.S. for, nationals of those countries to come out and support their team that they wouldn't see otherwise. I think that is cool, and it's inherently built into soccer. But I'm with you. I don't think this has been Adam Silver's best cat in the wall among several.
See, I actively hate the play-in.
And I like the play-in tournament much more than I like the in-season tournament.
I actively dislike the play-in, and this I'm much more indifferent about because it really doesn't. Other than adding confusion, it doesn't really create any further problems. So I'm pretty indifferent about it. But I was not excited to see who's in their pool.
Sure.
And I don't think I've ever been that necessarily. So I don't know. That's why I bring it up.
I agree. It does add a little bit of extra interest when you're kind of getting into the second or the third and the fourth game. You only play 4 games in these pools because it's 6 5-team groups in group play. When you get to that third game and the fourth game, you kind of start doing the math a little bit of if they win this by X amount of points, they'll advance. Or if they win this game by X amount of points, they could advance and still, qualify. It's the winner of the 6 groups plus 2 wild cards end up making it to the next round, the tournament round. Again, it's confusing. I get it sounds confusing. It does add a little interest in those games, and I don't think it necessarily makes the product worse, but I don't think it makes it way better.
So the nerds like it.
Yeah, the nerds like it.
The nerds who like that sort of, if this happens and they win by 3. No offense. He's probably our most prominent nerd in the sports media. Locke, I'm sure, loves it.
I wonder if he likes it.
Have him on and talk to him. But Locke loves that sort of nuance.
He does. He does.
Well, let's keep an eye on what's going on between Houston and Sacramento because of this by this and this by this, So, but I wonder, we talked about MMA fans, following the Paramount Plus, are there enough nerds to prop up that event to make it interesting? You know what I mean? To bring the audience to it. I can't do anything this weekend, guys. I got to watch this. And
again, one of the problems is you reward the players. Players, if you win, you get $500,000. Each player does on the team. That's awesome. Do fans care that players are making more money?
No,
but you do have to incentivize the players.
Fans want the players to care. That's the point.
But maybe you need to incentivize the fans. And what I mean by that is
give them $500,000.
Yeah, it'd be great. Or give the team who wins the 31st pick in the draft, right? It's not a first rounder, but it's the next pick. And then fans are like, I want my team to win. We get a free first-round draft pick, essentially.
This is the logic, though, that gave us all-star winner gets home home field advantage in the World Series, which
right. And then are you aiding the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are going to be the best team anyways, to really try and get another first-round pick, and then the rich just get richer?
Yeah.
There's a pushback to all of it.
OKC gets another first-round pick because of this stupid thing?
Yeah.
You can see it.
Absolutely. So maybe the best answer is don't put another cat in the wall.
Stop
putting cats in the wall.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Is this worth the energy? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Because I don't think it's hurting anything.
It's not a detriment. But is it helping?
It's not really. I don't know. We could get David James to look into the TV ratings for, comparison's sake for November pre-in-season tournament and post-in-season tournament. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it moves the needle.
But I think it is built-in rest, and that's its real plus.
Quit throwing the soft players under the bus, dude. That's essentially what you're saying is these guys are so putting soft they need an extra couple of days.
A week off, in the middle of the season. Then do something else. Fine. That's fine. Have that be the case.
Somewhere Charles Oakley's like, these soft players. All right, what's next?
The rest of the schedule, by the way, comes out in an hour and a half. The rest of the full season schedule. Jazz will play on the 22nd. The whole opening night is the 21st.
Big news coming out of the Big 12 yesterday. the conference is going to be mandating injury reports.
All right, Ben. This is a cat in the wall.
Okay.
This solves nothing.
Okay.
So, actually, I take that back. The only thing this does solve is the problem that Petros and the Fox crew had with Kyle Whittingham. This does solve that. Coaches have to come clean 3 hours before the game. But what it does not solve, Ben, is we'll see if he plays this week. We have no idea. We'll let you know if it's season ending. This doesn't solve any of that. You're just going to know that one player is not going to be playing 3 hours before the game. That's it. As opposed to 30 minutes.
It's not even that long. It's not even 3 hours.
It's not? I thought it was.
Our friends at Arizona Sports, our sister station, says for football, reports will be issued daily beginning 3 days before game day with a final update 90 minutes before kickoff. It's 90 minutes. Yeah.
So this solves nothing.
No, it doesn't. Witt's just going to hold his hand until 90 minutes before. Everyone's going to be questionable.
Cam Rising would have been still questionable the whole season.
Yeah.
But again, instead of blindsiding the TV crew,
yes,
when
that's what it
kickoff
is.
happens, you'll know 90 minutes before, which doesn't change anything.
Right. The difference is you think Cam's going to run out onto the field. And what was the game? And it was Batari. Who was it? Because it wasn't Isaac Wilson,
I think it
right?
was Bryson Barnes. We
It
were
was
talking about
Bryson
it
Barnes.
yesterday.
No, it was
against Washington State.
Yeah,
You're
it was
right.
Bryson
And they had
Barnes.
no idea, and they were totally unprepared. So you don't get that very last second Cam Rising's out there throwing the ball around in pregame, and then somebody nobody's heard of, which we've heard of Bryson Barnes, obviously, but they hadn't, walks onto the field. I guess you won't see that. But they don't necessarily, do they have to name a starter? They just have to update an injury report, right?
They just have to say if someone's going to play.
Or if they're available. You have to say they're going to play? What does that mean?
It's going to look similar to the
great point.
NFL's where it's, there's going to be probable, questionable, and I think doubtful.
Yeah. If you followed the NBA for the last 5 years, you know all those words mean nothing.
Walker Kessler was available every game last year. The Jazz rested him for a rest.
So this does not solve anything. But you know what it does do is it gives Brett Yormark and the conference commissioners the ability to go, would you guys get off my back?
Yeah.
I put in the injury report. What do you want? I mean, it's just a giant dodge.
And unfortunately, and I hate this, and I do think this is part of it, I think it has to do with gambling.
Well, if you're gambling on that, you're dumb.
But they are. The time I gain the most followers right now in social media, more than the draft, which I go really deep into all season long, is leading up to Vegas Summer League because I tweet out injury reports that the NBA doesn't. So the NBA, night to night or game to game on their website, has to put out the injury reports because teams have to do this. And all the gamblers just go to the NBA site to get the updated report, which comes out every hour on the 30, the bottom of every hour, all day going up to the games, every single day, so the gamblers can find it. Well, they don't do it for Summer League. But if the media wants to do it, we get sent a text and I'll report it and I'll put it out. I will gain 100 followers leading up to Summer League because the gamblers just want that information. And I get DMs about it over and over. So yes, that is purely what it's for. I promise you that's who it's for. Or that's who cares at the very least. They care more than anybody.
My point was not that they care. I understand that. Was that they don't have any new information. This is not giving them anything.
I would hope not, but I think they're looking for any edge they feel like is their advantage.
They do get it
well,
or not.
I don't care either.
That
I'm
makes
with
no
you.
difference to me. This will not satisfy that complaint. If that's what the complaint is somehow we have to fill in the gamblers. This will not do that. The only person this is good for are the Mouse and Fox's broadcast teams. That's basically it.
That's who it's really going to help.
It's not even good for the pregame show host.
No, that's who it's really going to help. You're right. Is the people actually in the booth who have 90 minutes to say, okay, it was this guy or this guy. I watched film
or
all
even
week. This is who it's
graphics
gonna be.
people or something like that. Yeah, they're loving it. But outside of those dozen people, it doesn't do anything for anyone. If you're making a bet 2 days before the game because the first injury report said this guy is probable, I wouldn't believe any of that.
Well, no, of course not. If you're doing it, no, you're talking about the bet 90 minutes before the game. When that final report comes out, those people will be happy. Now, does that mean, I'm with you, does it mean they're actually going to play?
Right. They might just be available.
I promise you, I knew games last year when the Jazz weren't going to play certain players that were listed as available. The gamblers didn't know.
Oh, it's how the Jazz reacted to getting fined.
Yeah.
That was their Perry
Right.
was like, no, he's available.
Yeah. You could tell before the game if guys were or were not going to play based on what they were doing, regardless of what it said they were available. So I'm with you. It's a stupid way to bet on it. I wouldn't bet on sports, period, but that is who cares. Now, who is it actually going to help? It will help the broadcast team. Who cares? The gamblers.
I don't think it helps them.
And if you're just, it may not help them, but they do care.
All right, what's next?
Number 3, BYU defensive tackle Keanu Tanavasa, ready for a big year.
I had a goal last year. I didn't achieve it. I'd love to reinstate that goal, and that's to, have a QB sack every play. I think the NFL looks for people that are pass rushers as well as run stoppers, and I try to cause havoc. I may not be the terminator of the play, but I try to determine where the play goes, right? And so just having a natural and big presence on that field every play, though I may not make the play, just being patient within my technique and bringing that defense along, bringing the best out of everybody.
That for most players, I think would be a lot of lip service. But for a defensive tackle, you can actually do all that.
Well, you can't get a sack every possession.
No. But create havoc and all this stuff. If the other team has to block you with at least 2 players, then you are dictating what the play is going to be.
Yeah.
You are dictating what is going to happen. There's a reason Haloti Ngata was so valuable to some of the best defenses that have ever played football.
Vince Wilfork's numbers are not impressive, but scheme against him.
You have to block him with 2 players.
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
And that determines what you're able to call. I mean, that position is so important. He can have a tremendous amount of impact if he plays well. And
it may not be from a numbers perspective, but it may be BYU finally has a double-digit player with double-digit sacks, or Isaiah Glasgow and Jack Kelly just run wild, just feast all year. And they should. Because Keanu Tanavasa is awesome.
If he holds up his end of the bargain, yeah, which he is. He's been really good.
He did last year.
So that's the thing from that tackle position, that you can really impact things so much because you're the initial point of impact. If they have to stop you first, and if they can't do it with one player, then that is a huge advantage, because all of a sudden the ability to block downfield has been significantly limited. So if he lives up to that, I mean, BYU's defense, as long as they can keep the outside locked up with some decent corner play, BYU's defense should be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. BYU's defense shouldn't be a question mark at all. Those linebackers, that linebacking group is going to be insane.
So that should be a real strength, I would guess.
And I don't think they'll be, what were they, bottom 25 last year in pass rush? I don't think that will be the case.
Not if Tanavasa holds up his end of the bargain. Yep. And again, that might not mean he's getting the sacks per se. But who was playing tackle? Was it one of the, when Nate Orchard had his huge year, was it one of the low
It might have been, yeah.
It wouldn't have been Starr at that point, but it would have been Lowell possibly. Yeah. But I mean, Utah's had a list of them, including Keanu Tanavasa.
Yeah, it could have been Lecky Fotu. It could have been, you know what I mean? Yeah, the list goes on and on.
But how many of, is Nate hopefully thanking the guys in the middle, because he got a lot of single coverage that year. So we'll see. All right, stay tuned. We'll have more coming up next. It is the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, these guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson
1, 2, 3, move it.
on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Join the zone, Hanson Scotty, the Hanson Scotty Invitational at the Cedar Hills Golf Club. Hanson Scotty will be broadcasting live from the tournament coming up next Tuesday from noon to 3. So check it out with Hanson Scotty G. Ben, is there a sporting event or I don't know, even a movie, something that you're really into that you wouldn't want to be interrupted? Like, you're a big Harold and Maude fan. Imagine the first time you saw that movie, pretty glued to it.
Yeah, the first fake death, yeah.
At the Bucks preseason game last night, there's a video that's circulating out there of a gal being helped by paramedics for whatever reason. I don't know. She's standing and being walked out. So I don't know if she was overserved or something else was going on. I don't know. But the dude she was with refused to go.
Babe, you're on your
just
own.
Said, I'll see you later. I got to catch the fourth quarter of this preseason game. Is there something that you would be that dedicated to that if your beloved were having some sort of, again, not go to the, not like somebody dial up an ambulance emergency, but paramedics are helping you out of the stadium. Are you staying?
A kids game?
Like, okay. So
if I'm at like one of my
Oliver's
kids'
game or something, okay,
and it's like their first game or their last game, or you know what I mean.
And she just had one too many pina coladas.
Which, by the way, all the games start at 8 a.m.
Okay.
Been up all night. What's the deal here?
This would be a different problem.
Why are you getting ushered
Okay,
out?
all right. You pull out the kid card. Okay.
But like, no, a preseason anything game. No, I can't imagine.
Regular season anything game.
Yeah, if you had traveled somewhere. Now, I'm not like a diehard sports fan. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I do this, but I'm not like a Tottenham fan or something where I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm flying to Europe to catch an EPL game. Hell or high water, I'm watching it. I don't care if you had too many Guinnesses. You're leaving by yourself, and I'm going to stay and finish the game. I can't imagine that.
Christian, you're at a Donks game. It's
Yes.
Let's say they're playing the Raiders for the division title.
Oh yeah,
Your wife's taking horse tranquilizers.
no question.
Your wife gets some minor heat stroke and needs to be escorted out of the stadium. You're telling me the guy who stood
He's
out,
calling the usher down. This lady's taking up all my time.
Christian, the guy who waited with bated breath outside of the Taylor Swift concert for his wife to get done enjoying it. You are going to tell her, no, I'm staying.
You know what? It might be more likely to happen at a concert than like if there was like a band. I was like, I gotta see them. I just haven't seen them either in a long time or ever before. Concert tickets now are $300, right?
She would have done the same thing to me.
Yes, at Taylor, she would
if
have.
she was at the Eras Tour concert and she got a text from her dad, hey, we got to take Christian to the hospital, she'd say, okay, I'll be there in 3 hours.
See, no. Different. Because escorted out of the stadium and something happens somewhere else are totally different things.
Correct. You went together.
You
You pre-gamed together.
You're sitting together. You got to go. Come on, dude.
Yeah. By the way, these videos of this woman, she is gone.
Overserved.
She has had plenty.
So does the reasoning play into it? Like, hey, you slammed those pina coladas yourself. This is on you.
There is.
I don't think you could do that. Absolutely not.
There is context here, which is like, does she do this every time we go out? You know, you have.
You said it was Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah.
She's got these great cowboy boots on. She's kind of walking up the stairs on her own. She's got a guy holding her hand, and she's using the handrail.
Yeah, but where's she gonna
the
go?
boyfriend is absolutely like, you take her. I haven't finished my $19 beer yet myself. And yeah, every time we go out. Guys, this is not a special occasion. She's always like this. Then maybe you just let her go.
Then maybe you can get away with that.
Yeah.
But where is she going to go? That's the point. Like, he has some responsibility where he has to get her to safety.
Probably on her Find My Phone. Like, he can probably go track her down after the game. Whatever.
Sleeping in a bush.
They've got good seats. They're lower bowl. I'm with the guy. I think the guy's right. He's got to know who's going to be QB2 this year.
Honey, I can't go.
I'm watching the corners.
Are you serious?
There's a battle going on right now.
I once we were hanging out with my wife's dear friend who's from Minnesota, and they came here to visit, and her husband is a Vikings fan. I mean, a Vikings fan. So much to the point that, we're hanging out, and he's like, we got to find a place to watch the game. Like, he's like, we got to, and when my wife's friend gave him just a little bit of pushback, like, hey, we're having a good time, And I heard him drop the line, are we fans or not?
Yeah. Real fans.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
I admire him so much.
Did you turn to your wife and say, like, are we fans or not?
Let's
hon?
go, Skull. Let's go.
Cousins is playing.
This guy is looking at his overserved partner, and saying,
Are we fans or not?
are we fans or not? Because I'm a fan and I'm staying. I'm staying. I'm going to finish my coffee.
Maybe we'll tweet this out from our Twitter account. I'll retweet it at Jake and Ben, KSL.
It is quite funny.
It's funny, yeah. She's just had a little bit too much to drink.
I'll see you in the parking lot.
We know. I was working a Utah game one time, and a guy I knew was there, and his wife had to leave.
Had to go. Had to go.
Yep.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.